So welcome back to another video on the channel, guys. Today we have our Championship Week 24 score predictions, and coming up this weekend we've got some absolute belters of football matches. We've got a few local derbies going on this weekend and I'm excited to see what you guys are saying for some of these. As always, all this weekend's fixtures will be listed in the description down below so that you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions, and if you do manage to get any of them correct, your comment will be included at the start of the next video. And if you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, guys, let's hop into my score predictions. And we'll start out with the game going on tonight between Aston Villa and Sheffield United, and this could be a big game for both teams' seasons, with Sheffield United still in the hunt of the top two. They're chasing down Leeds United in second at the moment, who have been looking a little bit stuttering in the Championship as of late, going up against an Aston Villa side who are still in the hunt of the top six. It may be a bit of a long shot, but there's only 4 points in it at the moment, with some of the teams above them having a game in hand. Aston Villa lately, they've slightly picked up their form. They're unbeaten in their last 3 and they picked up 4 points from their last 2, albeit their last 2 games have been against sides in the relegation zone, beating Ipswich and then drawing against Reading. With Sheffield United though, I'm starting to get the feeling about them that this could be their year. Their last game in the Championship was a fairly comfortable 2-0 home victory against Bolton Wanderers. This one's certainly going to be a different dynamic. They're not going to have as much of the ball. Aston Villa are going to look to dominate in those midfield areas, and Sheffield United are going to look to press and win the ball high up the pitch. And in the next few weeks, Sheffield United really do have some season-defining games. Tonight they've got Aston Villa away from home. In midweek they face Middlesbrough at home, and then not too long after that they got an away trip against West Brom. So some huge games coming up for Sheffield United, which really could forge the rest of their season. And for this game against Aston Villa, who have been looking quite inconsistent in the Championship recently, I am going to back Sheffield United for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Sheffield United. That's a massive game for them. And another massive game this weekend is between Middlesbrough and Leeds United. And going into this one, you have to say it's the home side who currently find themselves on a better run of form in the Championship. Leeds are tending to win one, then lose one, then win one, then lose one at the moment. And in fairness to Leeds, in the games they have lost this season, they still have been playing with the same game plan, the same intensity. They've been creating a lot of chances per 90 minutes. It's just they've not quite been as clinical as they could have been, and they've conceded some sloppy goals lately. Going up against this Middlesbrough side though, who are going to be very well drilled under Tony Pulis, and their last game was an absolute masterclass by Aston, beating West Brom by 3-2. I did not see that coming from them. He was looking absolutely clinical for that game, and maybe Aston could be this Middlesbrough's sort of spearhead going forward for the rest of this season. He can be that clinical striker who can get them the goals, and with how hard Middlesbrough can make themselves to break down defensively, Leeds could feasibly struggle for this one. In terms of Leeds, I'd quite like to see Patrick Bamford coming into the starting 11. Kamal Roof's form has dropped off a little bit over the past few weeks. I think he should be maybe given a couple of games on the bench, maybe used as an impact sub. I think that Bamford has probably looked a little bit better than Roof in the last few weeks, and I think he deserves his chance now in this Leeds squad, and he could come back to haunt Middlesbrough in this game. For a score prediction though, I am actually going to fancy Middlesbrough for a 2-1 home victory. I think Leeds could lose back-to-back games in the Championship. It's a big one to call this weekend. I want to know your guys' opinions on it. FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Leeds. And then we see Blackburn going up against Bristol City this weekend. Two sides who are hunting down the top 6 at the moment, and the away side currently find themselves in a very good position, sat 6th in the Championship. Blackburn, they had a bit of a nightmare last time out in the Championship. They found themselves 2 goals up against Brentford fairly early on, but ended up losing that game by 5-2. Danny Graham and Bradley Dack both went off injured in that game. However, Tony Mowbray has seemed fairly confident that they will be returning for this weekend. That's going to be a massive bonus for Blackburn if true, because as soon as those 2 players went off against Brentford, Blackburn really lost their attacking edge going forward, and defensively they completely fell apart. At home so far this season, you have to say Blackburn have had a very good defensive record. Throughout January, they kept a lot of clean sheets. David Raya I thought was very good, although did look quite dodgy in that game against Brentford. Going up against this Bristol City side though is not going to be an easy game. They find themselves in the form of their life at the moment, really. They've been scoring goals going forward and have been looking incredibly resilient defensively. Thomas Carlos and Adam Webster have been an absolute nightmare to break down. Both of them have formed a fantastic partnership this season. Brownhill and Marlon Pike in midfield have been excellent, and they've also got good wide options going forward. Jamie Patterson offering something, and possibly Casey Palmer could be returning to Ewood Park to haunt his former side. For this one, I don't feel like there's going to be all too much in it. Blackburn have been fairly good at home so far this season, and for this one, I'm going to say it will finish as a 1-1 draw, although if Danny Graham and Bradley Louis Dack are still missing, then I'd probably edge Bristol City for this one. But I will say 1-1 with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Blackburn. And then we've got a Lancashire encounter coming up this weekend between Bolton Wanderers and Preston North End. Now, most people are probably going to be fancying the away side for this one, and rightly so. Preston find themselves on a very good run of form currently. In our last 2 away games, we've scored 6 goals and probably should have beat Derby County with the amount of chances we created in that game. However, our record against some of the sides near the bottom of the Championship hasn't been brilliant so far this season. We've dropped points against Ipswich, Bolton, Reading and Rotherham this season, and maybe the same could be said for this one. In the reverse fixture earlier on in the season, Preston found themselves 2-0 up after 10 minutes. However, in the end, that game did finish as a 2-2 draw. So if Preston do get into a winning position in this one, we can't be affording to sit on that, as we've already seen what Bolton can do. Bolton lately, they've not been looking brilliant. Going forward and scoring goals has really been a problem so far. Still the lowest scorers in the Championship. The game they had against Sheffield United, they looked fairly organised defensively for the first sort of 60 or so minutes, but as soon as Sheffield United took the lead, you never really got the impression that Bolton were going to get back into it. And with the amount of chances that Preston have been creating per 90 minutes over the last 4 or 5 weeks, you would fancy Preston to be scoring a few goals in this one. Jaden Stockley, I think, is going to go toe-to-toe with the Bolton defenders, and then we're going to try and get a few runners off him. Shawnee Maguire making runs in behind, someone like Tom Barcusen maybe off the bench, and Brad Potts making those advanced runs as well. For this one, I will back Preston for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. I'm looking forward to it. Then we see Derby going up against Hull City this weekend, and with Derby recently dropping out of the playoffs with Bristol City's impressive run of form lately, their main focus has to switch back to the league now after some decent results in the FA Cup lately. Going up against a Hull side isn't going to be easy though. They got back to winning ways last week with a convincing 2-0 home victory over Stoke City. Jared Bowen and Kamil Grosicki both getting on the score sheet for that, 2 very dynamic wingers who I think could cause this Derby side some problems. In Derby's last fixture in the Championship, a 0-0 draw against Preston North End, they had a couple of flashes in the first half with Harry Wilson hitting the post and crossbar, but apart from that, it wasn't really a brilliant performance from this Derby side. For this one though, considering they are the home side, I think they'll be looking to take the game more to Hull in this one and not necessarily sitting back as much as they were at Deepdale. Roos, the goalkeeper, I think has been very good for them lately. He made some terrific saves at Deepdale against Preston. I think he's probably been better than Scott Carlson, especially what he was showing earlier on in the season. So for this one, I don't get the impression there's going to be all too much in it between these two sides. Both of them have got game changers who, if they do turn up, either of them could walk away with all 3 points, but I can't see much splitting these two. I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Hull. And then we got Nottingham Forest going up against Brentford. Now, things under Martin O'Neill at Forest so far have been pretty unspectacular. I think it's fair to say their last game, an away loss against Birmingham, where quite a few big players were left on the bench for that one. Lewis Grabban, João Carvalho and Leo Bonatini, one of their new signings, all left on the bench for that game. They were all brought on in the second half, but by that point it was too late to rectify the result. Going up against the Brentford side, who have been outstanding lately in the Championship in all competitions. In their last 5 games, they scored 18 goals. They really have been looking ruthless. It's finally looking like Thomas Frank has got his head around this Brentford side. They've switched up the system in the past few weeks, which they've been using, and that dynamic 3 they've got going forward have been absolutely irresistible to watch lately. They've been scoring some fantastic goals between themselves, and myself personally, probably Ben Rama has been my favourite to watch so far, and they could cause this Forest side all sorts of problems. For this one, I've got the impression that Martin O'Neill just needs to throw the kitchen sink at Brentford, because despite how good they have been going forward, I'm still not totally convinced by Brentford defensively. We saw them concede 2 pretty poor goals against Blackburn at the weekend, despite scoring 5 of their own. So there's still definitely some weaknesses there which this Forest side could exploit. I've got a feeling there could be quite a few goals scored in this one, but I can't look past Brentford at the moment. They have been too good. I'm going to back the away side for a 3-2 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Forest. That's a massive game for Martin O'Neill. And then we got QPR going up against Birmingham. Now, the away side I thought looked excellent in their last outing in the Championship, switching up the system to play a diamond in midfield, accommodating Jota into that number 10 role, where I thought he looked absolutely excellent. He was so influential with some of Birmingham's attacking movements for that game. It's a system which I hope to see more of for Birmingham going forward this season, and this is a sort of game where if Birmingham really want to be targeting the top 6 this season, they need to be capitalising on it. Going up against the QPR side, who in the Championship lately have been off form. They've lost their last 3 matches now, although they did progress in the FA Cup the other day, beating Portsmouth in a replay by 2-0. Maybe they can take some of that form from the FA Cup up into the Championship, but Birmingham I thought were looking quite ruthless in their last outing. Maybe the FA Cup's going to be something that QPR focus on, because lately their focus has seemingly slipped away from the Championship. For this one, I don't think there's going to be all too much in it, but I will just back Birmingham for a 2-1 away victory, with QPR not looking brilliant in the Championship lately. I'll say 2-1 Birmingham, although QPR are the sort of side who can turn it around out of nowhere. And then we got Rotherham going up against Wigan Athletic. Now this is a massive game in Rotherham's season. Their home form is going to be crucial from now until the end of the season if they are going to avoid the bottom three. Currently they're just 1 point above Reading, and with them seemingly picking up their form lately, they are definitely looking over their shoulders, Rotherham, at this point in time. Now Wigan are a really strange team in the Championship. A few weeks ago we saw them put in the performance of the season for them, a 3-0 home victory against Aston Villa, and they just couldn't follow it up the next week against Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously we all know how poor Wigan have been away from home so far this season. Last time in the Championship I thought it was a very good home performance, a complete performance against QPR, beating them by 2-1. Leon Clark came in on his debut, got a goal and an assist. I thought he was looking quite influential going forward, gives them that physical presence and can play the ball off to some of those midfielders who look to get involved for Wigan. Rotherham got a decent away point last time out in the Championship, a 0-0 draw against Millwall, where in fairness to Rotherham they did create some chances in that one and possibly could have gone to get all 3 points from it. And I don't feel as if there's going to be ultimately goal scored in this one, but Rotherham may just edge this one. A goal scored from a set piece or a long ball coming into the box or something like that that just may catch Wigan out, and I'm just going to back Rotherham for a 1-0 home victory, with FIFA saying it's going to end as a 0-0 draw. And then we've got Sheffield Wednesday going up against Reading. Sheffield Wednesday got off to the perfect start under Steve Bruce, beating Ipswich 1-0 away from home, where they really should have had some more goals in that one. Adam Reach missed a couple of chances, and Forestieri was getting into some brilliant goal scoring positions but just couldn't find the back of the net in that one. Going up against a Reading side who have been looking alright in the Championship lately, a couple of draws as their last two results. They are still in the relegation zone, but Rotherham are in touching distance at this point in time. In terms of Steve Bruce at Sheffield Wednesday though, I think he's brought back a little bit of the feel-good factor at the club. A lot more positivity currently going around. I think it'll be a good atmosphere at Hillsborough for that reason. Hector I thought was fantastic for Sheffield Wednesday again last week as well, and on the whole I think things are looking a lot brighter at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment. I can't see a reason why either side is going to want to sit back for this one. I expect both sides to be creating quite a few chances. Who's going to be more clinical? I think that Sheffield Wednesday may continue this run of form under Steve Bruce for a few more matches. I'm going to back the home side for a 2-1, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday, although you never really know with Reading at the moment. And then we got Swansea going up against Millwall in a game which I see as being quite highly contested actually. Both sides are going to be in this one, and although Millwall are without a win in their last 3 Championship matches, that doesn't really paint the picture of how they've been doing lately. I actually think they've been playing some decent football and have been looking like a massive improvement on what they were showing at the start of the season. In the last game they had a 0-0 draw against Rotherham, where they could have easily gone to pick up all 3 points from that one if they did take their chances, especially late on in that game. They had sort of a 10-minute flurry late on in that one where they really could have put Rotherham to bed but just couldn't find the back of the net. Going up against the Swansea side, who the atmosphere around Swansea at the moment is very peculiar indeed. After the whole saga we had with them in the transfer window. At home so far this season though, Swansea have been a free scoring side when they want to be. Defensively they can be a little bit slack at times, but I do see quite a few goals being scored in this one. Ollie McBurney's been chipping in with a lot of goals recently, and I feel like this game is going to swing in momentum quite a few times between each side. I'm going to back this one to finish as a 2-2 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Swansea. And then we see Stoke City going up against West Brom. This could be quite an important game in West Brom's season, considering they're coming off the back of a quite dramatic 3-2 loss against Middlesbrough last time in the Championship. It's important that West Brom have that bounce back ability if they are going to be chasing down the top 2 this season. And going up against a Stoke side who haven't been looking brilliant lately, I think that Nathan Jones is still getting his ideas across to his players. Their last outing in the Championship was a 2-0 away loss against Hull City, where Sam Vokes had the chance to get off to the perfect start with his new club, but he couldn't convert his penalty in that game. And West Brom certainly got some good attacking options. I remember the reverse fixture of this game earlier on in the season. Dwight Gale scored an absolutely outrageous goal, spinning his defender with a lovely turn and then just coolly taking the ball past Jack Butland and slotting it into the back of the net. And I think it's fair to say that neither of these two sides defensively have looked overly convincing this season. You know, West Brom conceded some absolutely outrageous goals against Middlesbrough Middlesbrough last time out. Some really sloppy defending for that one, and the same could be said about Stoke for the majority of the season, really. I see quite a few goals being scored in this one, and West Brom have to bounce back. For that reason, I'm going to back them for a 3-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Stoke. And then for our final fixture to go over, we got the East Anglian derby on Sunday between Norwich City and Ipswich Town. And I've got to say, it would be typical of the Championship if Ipswich were to go to Norwich and beat them in this one. It's top going up against bottom. Norwich are unbeaten in this fixture in their last 11 encounters. Although 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two sides has finished as a 1-1 draw, it's Norwich who has to be fancying this one. When I'm recording this video, it's unclear if James Collins and Luke Chambers will be back fit for Ipswich. They both missed the game they had last time out against Sheffield Wednesday, where they obviously lost that game by 1-0. On the road so far this season, Ipswich have been pretty abysmal. At home, they've been looking alright on the Paul Lambert, but away from home, they've not been looking like they're going to be picking up anything. They've only won 1 game so far this season on the road. That was against Swansea earlier on in the season, and I'm not sure if I can see that changing for this one. Norwich looked absolutely ruthless against Leeds United. It really is a scary team to go up against at the moment. Vrancic has been playing fantastically. Stiepermann, as that sort of unorthodox number 10, has been doing brilliantly. Their 2 wide options, Hernandez and Buendia, and Timu Pukki is a fox in the box. I fancy Norwich to score a couple of goals in this one. I'm not sure the longer this goes on for, I'm not sure if Ipswich can withstand that pressure for 90 minutes. So for this one, I'm gonna back Norwich for a 2-0 home victory, with FIFA saying it's gonna be 1-0 Norwich. Guys, let me know down below, what do you think is gonna happen in the East Anglian derby? But guys, there you have it. There are my score predictions for this weekend's upcoming Championship fixtures. Do you guys agree with my predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. And as well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. Make sure you do leave a like if you did go on to enjoy the video. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.